If you are single and looking to slide into someone's DM, your social media has to be on point. No matter if it's Facebook or Instagram, WJJ Brands develops and delivers high-quality graphic design services that enhances the image and message your brand is trying to portray. Enjoy 10% off on Black Fly on the Wall with promo code BLKFLY10. Individual canceling is based on morals. Large corporation canceling is based on bottom line objectives.
I would say it's based on marketing.
Marketing. Yeah.
So here's the thing:
can
the
I
problem,
swing this?
the difference between the baby beat somebody up in the mall, didn't get canceled. The baby, you know what I mean?
Killed somebody in Walmart.
In Walmart, whatever, didn't get canceled.
He active now.
Is that people who identify with those victims are not a defined target audience? You see what I'm saying? So there's no audience. There's not like, nobody says, what are we gonna say to the people who hate murder to sell this product? That's not a, what are we gonna say to the people who don't want to get killed in Walmart? That's not a thing. But
when you talk about HIV, AIDS,
that's
homosexuality,
a definable, marketable target audience.
Right.
If you upset them, there is a very specific portion of our market share that is going to suffer. If there was a coalition, national coalition against murder that people sold things to, every rapper would get canceled.
I dreamed about this opportunity and this moment for a long time. You know, my dream has become a reality now, and it's the best feeling I've ever had.
The devil wouldn't have existed if I would've lived in BC. Them type of haters never make it, spreading love at this speed. Started rapping back when Cash Money dropped, bling bling. This the sequel to the Dr. King I Have a Dream speech. Martin was peace, now March is like MMA. The street don't got feelings, they hearts is in the bank. We need 100 black billionaires in USA, and a black Wall Street on every MLK. I'm paid now. I had a dream and my ancestors said these dead presidents my slaves now.
We back again with another one, Black Fly on the Wall. Today's topic is canceling cancel culture. All right, canceling cancel culture. But we're going to get it popping with our guest. Introduce yourself.
How you doing, everybody? Greg Bird in the banking and financial sector, current MBA student, achieving greatness.
Nice.
AV, dad, husband. I was about to say what?
Author,
investor, consultant, the things.
Hey, CP, Colton Palmer at Colton Palmer on the gram. Specialize in making shit shake.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. He switching up on this one.
I was like, man, I think I got something.
Got to put my IG screen.
Hey, today's conversation, man, canceling cancel culture. This is a hot topic right now.
Okay.
We got the baby stuff going on. We had Chris Brown back in the day, Kobe, Bill Cosby. You know, we had a lot of people canceled lately. But I think it's a good conversation to have because, you know, the first question is, how do we stand up for what we believe in and also not get canceled in the same process?
You can't.
Man.
So it's politics.
I mean, because this is the thing, man. I think we live in a cancel culture society where any given thing you say and or believe could get you canceled by the masses. At the same time, I think we live in a society that wants to go as far as it can go without consequences. And I don't think there's such thing. I mean, you have the right to an opinion. You don't have a right to a spoken opinion without consequence. So there's no way to separate the two. If you honestly believe it, then die by it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Die about it. Or don't say it.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I live on that.
Great.
And I'll be honest with you, two important words: emotional intelligence. Everything that's said, everything that you see on social media, I don't think it always requires a reaction. I think a lot of times, you know, even with the baby, I think with his particular situation, he really got too comfortable. A lot of times, you know, we get to a certain achievement level in life, and I can credit social media to this as being an enabler. We get too comfortable. We think that we become invincible. And that's when we begin to make mistakes.
Nobody's untouchable.
Yeah. Nobody's untouchable. And we forget that. You know, you forget you're untouchable. You forget, you know, you can be canceled as well. It doesn't matter how much money that you make. You can be canceled, especially when you're putting yourself out there on social media. In this culture, like, people are looking for reasons to cancel you. No matter your fame status, no matter where you come from, any 50 states, it can
And,
definitely
and
happen.
especially whenever the people that's paying you
Yeah.
have vested interest in making sure the status quo is always maintained around
Yeah.
certain demographics of people, whether it's race, how they identify with their gender, sexuality, all those different things. So you got to be even more careful. Go.
Yeah.
I mean, I was late to this whole canceling thing. Like, people were talking about that on Reddit. We canceled so I'm like, I don't know if I just be missing certain shit because I just don't be in the like popular culture.
The cool group chats.
I don't follow the Instagram to the gossip. Really, I'm just not a big gossip person. If I hear about it, I know it had to be big because I don't really pay attention to it, but so much. But the whole canceling thing, man, at the core for me, if I'm canceling somebody or I'm not gonna listen to their music no more, I'm not gonna support this and that. It has to be something you did morally or ethically that's just wrong. Like your opinion. I'm not gonna cancel somebody over an opinion because their opinion is based off of their experience. I haven't had their experience, so I don't know. But if you do something morally or like, it's hard not to listen to R. Kelly. I love his music.
Right, man.
He did some fucked up shit.
Okay, let's dive into that. My next question is,
I really like his music though. Yeah.
you said like, okay, you it's based off of what they do, but how do we know what they did? Right, because a lot of times people have charges, people go through trials. I mean, Bill Cosby got drugged through the mud, and people use the legal system as their backing to make a basis off of their opinion, right? Yeah. So, but like Bill Cosby's situation, he was getting drugged. Now he's out of jail. So do companies start back endorsing them like, oh, my bad? So, like, you really didn't do what you did because the same legal system that we were using to credit our information off of is now releasing you from jail. So like, should we apologize? Like,
I might catch some negativity for this.
Probably.
This is about to get some.
You might get canceled.
Yeah, I might get canceled. R. Kelly, his shit was ridiculous. Like, that's just ridiculous. Bill Cosby, like, I don't know all the facts of it. I don't know all the facts, but everybody's saying he gave people drugs. Essentially, he gave people drugs, whatever. But
which he did not.
It's one thing to give somebody drugs and they're oblivious to it, to sneak something in someone's drink.
Roofie somebody.
To roofie somebody to have sex with one
that's ridiculous.
To fucking provide the drugs, everybody's taking them, is different. And then you decide to have sex. Bruh, if you are an adult and you are responsible enough to take the drink, to take the drug, to make that decision, and then you make the decision to have sex that night and then wake up in the morning and regret it, I don't think he's to blame. You need to look at yourself. Now, I don't know if that was the case.
Well, if that's the scenario.
Yeah,
right.
Why the fuck would you wait 30 years to say something? Yeah. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. If somebody did me wrong, it's immediate. I'm either going to
and in the media with like the Mark Lamons, everybody, that's a constant thing that people say is like, why did it take 25 years? Why did it take 30 years? Why did it happen during a time when somebody was about to reach a certain level of success? Are there other things moving on in the background that may be going on? Now, like, that's the old school way of thinking too, is like, if you sign up for something, you go through with it. If everybody is in the partying, especially like in the 60s and 70s, that's all they did was drugs.
Heavy drugs.
Now, I also think that now, but what we're doing is people live during a time where the laws are not even the same as they are now, right? Things have changed over time, respectfully, right, as they should. And so a lot of times people are being judged by old actions based on new rules.
Yeah.
Right? Bill Cosby didn't get charged based on 1970 laws. Yeah. He got charged based on 2018 laws, which is a bit contradictory, right? A lot of things they did back then are super illegal now, right? So, like, people were walking around sniffing cocaine. Right. Yeah. People were sniffing cocaine off their hand, just like people walk around in LA and smoke weed walking down the street. It was a completely different world. And so I think that's another thing, too, that people always have to understand whenever they're making their own, decisions on who they cancel, who they don't, how it morally correlates with themselves and what they believe in, is that you always have to put context in play.
I'm not talking guilt or innocence when it comes to Cosby, because I don't know the details of the case and exactly what happened. But based on people's beliefs, if you were
if you were pointing finger at Bill Cosby and saying, "Yes, I was right for canceling him. He went to jail." How do you feel when he gets out?
Okay. So look, this is the thing. I want to let y'all do your thing, but because you're right. You're probably gonna get canceled, but because there's so many things that are a part of that conversation and so many nuances that we, for the sake of having a quick conversation and not that we might glaze over. You know what I mean? So at the foremost, I think the movement around canceling Cosby, R. Kelly, or whatever outside, or what we might call like a super judicial process or something that goes beyond and above the courts, I think that has everything to do with whether or not women feel supported by men. You know what I mean? It's like we understand that all of us would agree that the court system can't be relied on to issue out justice. However, the only reason that people have found themselves defending the R. Kellys and Bill Cosbys of the world are because they haven't been formally charged, which is contradictory, right? It's either you believe in the system or you don't.
Right. That's the challenge. That's the challenge.
The challenge is that if the only time you don't believe in the system is when men are being charged, see what I'm saying? You say something about yourself whether you want to say that thing or not. Beyond that, I think we start to get into whether or not things are wrong because they're against the law or because they're wrong. You know what I mean? And so when we start talking about drugs,
what is your
alcohol,
scale?
Right.
What's your scale?
And that's going to be my third point. But at the second point is what makes a thing right or wrong. I don't need the law to tell me whether something right or wrong. If it was legal today to give a person, alcohol, wait till they were inebriated, and then ask them to have sex, even if that were legal, I would think it was wrong, right? Because your state of mind has been altered, and then you've been asked a question for which there is consequence, right? And then the last thing, I think, is just that. I think at some point, what we're talking about, because I think there's some kind of general expectation that the decisions that we make regarding whether we cancel another person hold up in court, that I'm consistent, or that I have some kind of meaningful criteria for who and what I cancel and support. And I don't think any such standard exists, and I don't think it needs to, right? Like, if my mom says that R. Kelly is canceled, I'm not going to ask her why. It don't matter. You know what I mean? If you don't want to support that man no more, and you don't want, as a matter of fact, as an extension of that belief, because it's not different from anybody else, this is where we get into trouble. If she doesn't want to support him anymore, that's one thing. The second thing is that likely people want to be around people who feel like they feel. Think what they think. Right. I don't want to be around. If I got to the point emotionally where I can't listen to R. Kelly's music without feeling convicted, I don't want to be around people who can. Right? Because I start to make a judgment and an idea about what your moral fabric is. I don't really think we should police that. I think we should accept that. So if
that resonates with the fact that, like, people are receiving legal justice and social justice. Like, social justice is the cancel culture.
Correct.
Legal justice is what you experience in court. And so, like, mixing the two is like oil and water. One is because a judicial system has been created, was created to hinder black people from the beginning. So, like, in some scenarios, you support the justice system, and then whenever it's convenient for you, but then sometimes you don't. That doesn't make any sense. But also too, when it comes down to social justice, which is cancel culture, you have to decide, okay, cancel culture is relatable to your morals and how they correlate strictly with what you believe in, right? And so people have to also make sure that when they're having conversations with people, they're not convoluted. Like, your conversation, like, not saying you, but
I'm with
you. Your the way you're thinking is based on the legal justice system, and what that person is over here thinking social. Y'all will never agree,
right?
And you shouldn't have to agree. But that's part of cancel cultures, because canceling even happens like within friend groups. Like,
it does. Yeah.
Like it was a disagree. Like, for example, like when we did the Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez episode, right? Like, the purpose of the episode was to provide just a general cover up the topic, and for people to just share their opinions on it. Right. It's okay for somebody to have a different opinion than you, and you not internally cancel them. Like, you all will never agree 100% on everything.
Correct.
Like, you may like chocolate ice cream and he may like vanilla ice cream, but you may weight those things differently. Are you going to cancel him because of that? No. It's just the fact that for the Meg and Tory thing is that some people were saying, like, hey, before I cancel Tory, I want to see what comes up in the court of law.
Right.
All of our information right now is based on Shade Room, TMZ, and Baller Alert.
Correct.
Nobody knows what happens. How do you feel internally, right, when you wage war against another black man or another person, period, and then it comes out like, dang, I didn't have all the facts. I was about to cancel somebody.
But see, this is the thing though, because I think where that conversation goes left is that these are the only instances where we're waiting on the court.
Okay. Because
Black men-
they're
see,
the only what if they're the only basis of facts though? Because
so this is the thing, and I feel like we had this kind of even
we did. We had it in the group chat.
There are instances where the facts are not the most important thing. Right. My sister, my daughter, my wife comes home and said, "This thing happened. I don't need no recording. I don't need, you know what I mean? I don't need."
Right.
And so
right,
this
absolutely.
is the thing. This is the problem. The expectation now, socially speaking, because our societal expectation is increasing. The expectation now is that we extend that trust and that grace to everyone we consider to be our people. And we are fighting against that expectation. You know what I'm saying? We're saying I extend that grace to my people. I'm going to believe my wife unconditionally, my child unconditionally, my mom unconditionally. But if it's your wife, I need proof, right? And that inconsistency is going to lead people to question your judgment. You know what I'm saying? So in Tory's case, if Meg Thee Stallion was any of our sisters, relative, or whatever, none of us would need proof.
Right.
Why though? You know what I'm saying? And it's because we believe
because you know the person.
Yeah.
We believe that people who are close to us are naturally and
honest
and more. And why though?
Trust.
We understand, even when we say that out loud in this group, everybody understands that is a function of bias.
Right.
There's no good reason to believe my mother over you. So then why do we do it? The question that ends up, because we don't answer the question ourselves, I don't even know the question's been posed like that. Because we don't answer the question ourselves, that the people who are the victims of that answer the question on our behalf. So they say you make exceptions for the women who are closest to you because you love them, but generally you don't like women. You don't want to protect them. The only ones that you protect are the ones that are pretty and related to you. That's it. And we don't have a counter argument to that. You know what I mean? So it's not until...
how many times do you see a woman on the side of the road that you don't pull over and help change a tire?
It's all the same. And so at some point though, some point, our daughters are gonna say, why would you stop for
your
not
aunt.
Stop for feel me? The inconsistency is going to be questioned regardless. We just respond differently to who's doing the questioning. And so I believe honestly that we should, and that's the first thing that came out of my mouth, die about it. If you are interested in proof before you cancel Tory Lanez, I need you to be interested in proof every single time the law is involved, right? You get assaulted on the side of the road, you know who did it, nobody else knows. You need to say, well, that person not going to jail because I ain't got no proof. You need to be good with that. You know what I'm saying? But we not consistent like that. And because we play that game, then we get caught up in the misogynoir, you know what I mean? Those conversations, because our judgments are inconsistent. And so, I mean, I think I would just like to see that. I don't listen to R. Kelly. I mean, I think
listened to him in years.
In years,
damn.
at this point, because it's like, for a couple of reasons. One, I think what he did was disgusting, personally. However, what I recognize... That's
a general consensus.
This is the thing, though, because maybe it's because I'm a man, or maybe I have some, kind of, what's the word for people who are detached? Maybe I can detach myself from things. I probably could listen to an R. Kelly song and not think about any of the terrible things he did. The reason I don't listen to him has everything to do with solidarity. You know what I mean? It's because there are people for whom this matters, and this is visceral, and it's real, and it creates an emotional and real pain. And what does it say about my care of them if I can't skip one song? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tory Lanez is one artist. He's one artist who is accused of shooting a black man. I'm down. I love black women enough to not listen to Tory. Honestly, his music is not that great.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So I have a question for you all, and Greg, I want you to start with this.
You good?
No, you good. You made a good point. So does cancel culture affect people differently whenever it's man versus woman versus man versus man? Because the biggest thing with dababy is that these large companies, and we're talking about large companies and morals now, these large companies support when artists get up and say that they shot so-and-so, they murdered so-and-so, they shot so-and-so, this is a man versus a man or a man versus whatever. But whenever it comes down to certain topics and certain things that they say, it's cancel them. But you invite them to their festivals and everything, and every song is about murder, drugs, violence. So is it about morals? Because morally, you would think that they...
Well, those companies and corporations aren't driven by morals or ethics. They're driven by dollars. So whatever is in the climate at the time that is the most politically incorrect thing to do, if you do that, that's worse than killing somebody. Because obviously, we've seen rappers, we've seen
They get bigger after they get a murder.
Kill somebody, or when they beat a nigga ass in the mall. Like,
Right.
They get bigger for that. No company's dropping the baby because he dropped somebody in the mall.
Right. They picking him up. He get more.
He said something politically incorrect, and now you lose endorsements because there's no moral and ethical balance. Companies could care less about that. What they care about is it's going to impact sales at the end of the day.
Yep.
And
The bottom line.
the bottom line. Yeah. So it's very, to me, it's very different from what a corporation does in terms of canceling someone or an individual or.
So individual canceling is based on morals. Large corporation canceling is based on bottom line objectives.
I would say it's based on marketing.
Marketing. Yeah.
So here's the thing:
Can
the
I
problem,
swing this?
the
or not?
difference between the baby beat somebody up in the mall, didn't get canceled. The baby, you know what I mean?
Killed,
For violence.
he killed somebody in Walmart.
In Walmart, whatever, didn't get canceled.
He active now.
Is that people who identify with those victims are not a defined target audience. See what I'm saying? So there's no audience.
real.
There's not like nobody says, what are we gonna say to the people who hate murder to sell this product? That's not a. What are we gonna say to the people who don't want to get killed in Walmart? That's not a thing. But
when we talk about
people who
HIV,
fall-
AIDS,
that's
homosexuality,
a definable, marketable target audience.
Right.
If you upset them, there is a very specific portion of our market share that is going to suffer. If there was a coalition, national coalition against murder that people sold things to, every rapper would get canceled. But there's not. If there was a national coalition against people who don't want to see other people do cocaine, every rapper would get canceled. Or the ones who rap about drugs.
So it's more, when it comes to business, it's objective. When it comes to people, it's more subjective when it comes down to what they morally believe.
Everybody's got a PR.
But go ahead,
Yeah,
Greg.
and I can tell you this, and you can pick it back up off. I think the act of canceling the baby essentially turned into a marketing strategy, because every company that just kind of followed suit, you had Nike, you had all these different companies just one after another.
It's a domino effect.
Yeah, each company that canceled him, another company noticed that, and then once they saw that, oh, I'm going to cancel him too, and then kind of in turn turns around to be a profitable aspect for that company, because hey, if they see me canceling someone that's saying something morally disrespectful and incorrect, that's going to look good and shine light on my company.
All you have to do is
it's the
name.
actual term of it. Chancellor Reeves told me a long time ago when I was in undergrad, is that when you see one university do something, you'll notice that another university do something.
Yeah.
And then it follows suit. It's kind of like human behavior more so.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like if this successful entity is so invested in something that they're making a decision to make a change, we also need to look at what they're paying attention to and also make that change versus doing something completely different.
I mean, you hear oftentimes with companies, all news is good news. If I have a reason to put my company on the forefront, whether it's letting someone go or we're standing on this side of the line because this person did this, no matter what, if Nike drops them, whoever drops them, Target could drop him. If Nike can be like, we want to be the headline news too. We're going to drop him too tomorrow. But the thing is, if I really just wanted to drop you, I'd just drop you because I don't believe in your moral, ethical, values. It's different when I have my PR team say, hey, draft a story that we can put out tomorrow to say we're dropping him. That's about news. That's about attention. That's about driving sales. It's completely different. And I got to look in the camera for this and say a disclaimer. I don't agree with what Bill Cosby did. I don't agree with what he did. No. I'm not saying that's okay, but
the audience knows we talk about everything. This is about sharing a different perspective on how we look at things as a community versus being sheep. Right? Like we have to get to a point where Shade Room, TMZ, Baller Alert, Hollywood Unlocked, all these blogs aren't your main source of information and drive your daily emotions, right? Like it's okay that you still listen to dababy, but your best friend doesn't. It's all right. Right, it's not the end of the world because guess what? In another week, it's gonna be a whole nother story. Over the summer, last summer we was talking about Tory. This summer we're talking about dababy. It's every summer, every year is gonna be something completely different. And if us as a community, if this is the main thing we continue to put all of our energy into, it's just like them crates, bro. Yeah. We're not really progressing. That's the main thing that we're focused on.
And I think honestly, for me, the main reason I'm not up on these topics it's because I honestly don't give a fuck. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like, of course, I don't want to see people do things wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's not something I want to see.
Right, you're morally concerned about good and bad, but you don't give energy to.
But I can't. All I can do is give an opinion amongst friends based on whatever's.
Well, being in tune with these things is a low vibration, so it's not anything that's going towards your purpose in life, right?
Exactly.
It's gossip. It's about things that's going on. It's keeping you abreast socially. Yeah. But like we've already established that canceling is it's something that's going on social, and we all know social justice is very unbalanced. Literally, if Nike picked up DaBaby tomorrow, he would no longer be canceled. Mm-hmm. And then everybody would and everything is, and then you look back on it like, wow, over the last 3 months, I put a lot of energy into deleting every DaBaby song out of my Apple library. Mm-hmm. Let me add it back. Well, like, how serious was it? You know
how much corporations are about money just based off of this. Sha'Carri Richardson, she pops positive for weed. She gets dropped from the Olympics.
She was canceled.
She was canceled person, but Nike kept her. Mm-hmm. They gave her a bigger deal. Mm-hmm. But 4 or 5 years ago, Nike won't gonna fuck up again because 4 or 5 years ago, Allison Felix gets pregnant. Mm-hmm. They drop her, and they called a shitstorm for dropping her. Mm-hmm. And now she's with Athleta or whatever. She made it apparent,
and she has her own shoe. She just won a gold medal. Her own brand.
Yeah. You have to know the political climate. And you have to know the climate.
I say it all the time. Read the room. Read the room, yo.
Because in both of those cases, there is a discernible, marketable target audience. Yes. You know what I mean? There are women who want to be active with kids, and there are women who want to be active and smoke weed. And there's somebody to defend. And
especially
all of
with weed being legal in a lot of states now.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. The reason why the DaBabies and the Bill Cosbys and the Chris Brown bounced back. But because he's light skinned, right? But because he's light skinned, he could live through that.
And people didn't think he would.
Singing don't matter because R. Kelly, you know what I mean? He ain't survived. So I'm saying.
So do you ever look at people like you still listen to Chris Brown, but you deleted all your Tory?
No, because I've had people girls literally say to me, Chris Brown, he was young. He could have changed.
Social justice. Like, it has no judge.
So look, as a counsel, this is what I'm saying to y'all though. We have the expectation that we have that people be judge and jury consistently is unrealistic. Let it go. Because we just pointed out we do the same thing. Yeah. I'm gonna believe my sister. I don't know you. Yeah. Right? Like we don't. You
see your mom on the side of the road. You can help her change her tire. You see somebody else.
You feel me? You could have been trying to take my kidneys or something crazy. We don't need to expect that people be consistent. The only thing we need to be cognizant of is that everything that we say and do and express, we got to be ready to die about that, right? I'm not ready to die about R. Kelly or Tory Lanez, and their relationship.
What about DaBaby?
No, or him? No. Nobody who's on our list, or Chris Brown. I don't listen to none of these people. But what I'm saying is that's because I recognize that there are consequences for defending that. Consequences that I'm not ready and prepared to live through. And the last thing I'm gonna say is, you said before, we got to be okay with the fact that there are going to be people who share a difference of opinion. I think you need to be equally prepared to accept the fact that there are people who are not going to want to deal with you or be around you or have them in your life once they find out how you feel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as long as you're okay with that, your beliefs are probably fine, even if they fucked up. You can live with those. Mm-hmm. But if your mom would say, if I found out you listen to R. Kelly, that would hurt me, and that bothers you, you probably shouldn't be listening to R. Kelly. You see what I'm saying? And you need to. I would use those sensitivities to your relationships as directions on your moral compass. If it would cause one of your close relationships to be called into question, if you said, well, I still listen to DaBaby, or I still listen to Chris Brown, or I still love Bill Cosby, then you probably going in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? It's just whether it's based on proof or not is all I'm saying. So, I mean, that's the way I choose to live. I'm not defending shit. I'm not ready to
a good segue, though. Fly Conversations, man.
Okay. Yeah.
I need a true 30 seconds. We're running out of time, Phil. True 30. Put y'all on timer. Right. We ain't gonna point out to who. We ain't gonna point out to who.
I can get a little long.
I'm gonna count it off on my
hashtag Fly Conversations. Your friend goes viral on your best friend goes viral on social media for making an insensitive comment. We're not gonna get into what group it affects. Do you remain quiet to protect yourself, or stand up for your friend and risk being canceled?
I think that you stand up for them in privacy. I mean, you don't have to put it on social media. You know, if it's your friend, you pull them to the side, you have a conversation with them, the good and the bad. And who else is going to know? Like I said, I think the problem is in this society, they feel like everything needs to be broadcast and everything.
That's solid.
Everyone needs to know about everything, and that's not the case. To be honest with you, the less people know, the better.
AV 30.
30. If it's I'm with him, I mean, I'm gonna get with my homie in private. I think if I'm asked about it publicly, I'll address that. We talk. You know what I mean? Because I think that accountability is accountability. If I talk to you, I probably would say that. Listen, I don't think this is right. People ask me about it. I'm going to tell them about this conversation. I'll tell them what I advise you, and I advise you to apologize. You know?
CP.
Yeah, I ride with my boys, man. No matter what the case is, no matter if Brent or James says something that I have to address to the public, or I mean, of course, I would address it with them like, bro, they probably shouldn't have said that. We're gonna talk about it, of course. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely riding with them. I mean, I'm not gonna let our friendship go by the wayside. All the things we've experienced. Everybody makes mistakes. Make that clear. Made it clear that I talked to him, may not agree with what he said. Hopefully he was drunk, so I could just say he was drunk. But you know, I'm not gonna just leave my boy out there to dry. Now,
Right.
if he did some R. Kelly shit, we need to talk.
Right. It's so
You don't need
Actually,
to.
because
you may be,
something like that. I'm like, hey, bro, you're going to jail.
honestly.
You're
So-
going to, and I will testify.
But canceling cancel culture, man, I think all in all, to sum it back up, is that, you know, people understand, like, you know, what's good from bad, how people are affected, how women are affected, how men are affected, whether we're talking about murder, whether we're talking about drugs, whether we're talking about sexual assault against women. All of these things should be weighted equally. And we understand that what drives this, how we have a legal justice system and we have a social justice system, but us as a people, especially the black culture, drives a lot of this. The attention that we give, where we apply our attention to, is what drives the decisions amongst larger companies. And so we have to understand the power that we have as a people. But you know, another good episode, man. Fly conversations.
Yes,
I think it was a conversation that need to be had, and I think it's a conversation that focuses around consistency, always assessing your moral compass, and always standing on your own, and be willing to deal with the consequences.
Absolutely.
That's
Canceling
the thing.
cancel culture.
Yes, sir.
All right.